During a weekend of night work like this, the biggest challenge is staying awake. My name is Frank Techer. I'm plant manager of the Köhlbrandbrücke, and I've been taking care of the bridge here for more than 15 years. I deal with it every day. My name is Matthias Wehrkamp. I'm deputy plant manager for the Köhlbrandbrücke. We take care of maintenance on the bridge. We make sure it remains operational. And we're currently taking care of replacing the bearings on pillar 102. The whole construction's pretty tall when you look at it. It's a big deal. Could be a bit difficult to swivel, but it looks quite good already. The bridge itself is turning 50 this month. The years have taken their toll on the bridge, and the bearings and the section transitions need constant maintenance and renewal after 50 years of heavy traffic, which put the bridge under a lot of strain. 2 bearings were replaced last year, and this year 2 more on one of the water pillars. That's a bit more complex. The scaffolding alone took over 3 weeks to build. 3.5 weeks until the access bridge and pillar scaffolding had been set up. The entire scaffolding, including the pillar scaffolding, is completely connected to this scaffolding here. And the bridge moves a few centimeters every day. That's expansion, which is completely normal. To make it work perfectly, we've installed a triangle support here with a rail on it, and that will allow the bridge to expand, so to speak, while the scaffolding stays as firm as it is now. This access also serves as a rescue point. The entire project is supervised by a safety and health coordinator. Safety training takes place before the start of each individual job. Employees are instructed on things like falling parts, for example, or using elevators. There are individual instructional sessions in each case. It took the construction company a good 3 weeks to install the auxiliary presses, the moving elements and the cable pulls. We started our preparations some 6 or 7 weeks ago to ensure that everything was just right. Well, I didn't think it would be completely finished by now. I thought it would take longer. There's not that much to do now. Get it aligned and fixed in place. It's already looking pretty good. Today we're assembling the auxiliary presses. We have the area here and here where the auxiliary presses come in. 4 there, 4 there. The first has already been inserted. The company is now fetching the next one, and that will take the next 2 days until everything is in place. One press weighs around 200 kilos. That's why we have the auxiliary structure with the trolley here. At this point you can already see that the old bearing is already grinding against the sliding plate, and that can cause the bearing to get stuck and then take the pillar with it when the bridge moves, and that shouldn't happen. And for this reason the bearings have to be replaced. The bearings are being replaced with the Köhlbrandbrücke fully closed. We're preparing for complete closure now. To do this, we have to place folding boards and signs. As you can see, preparations are already underway here. The narrowing of traffic lines is already in full swing. Like last time, they do a U-turn afterwards and then meet there. Since we have to block many sections at the same time, tricky traffic situations will keep occurring. Since the drivers are of course all a bit confused at the moment, we have to be very careful that there are no accidents. It's closed now. We can close. Please continue. The last car is through. Everything's also closed with us. Okay, I'll see you soon. We now have a milestone in the project. The Köhlbrandbrücke is completely blocked and will now lift the superstructure and then cut out the bearings later.
Damit später die Lager freizuschneiden.
Thomas, we're ready to go. The bridge can be lifted. 524, 6 millimeters currently. Each of these 8 hydraulic cylinders can apply 700 bar in pressure. That's the equivalent of 500 tons. Together with the 8 hydraulic cylinders, we can lift 4,000 tons. The upper bearing joint is currently being sawn through with a wire saw. We can now see here that the top bearing plate has been cut free. This is where the wire from the wire saw cut through, and we're now on the verge of dismantling the bearing. It's 1:36 and we're about to free the bearing. The threaded rod is still in the way here. And when the bearing's out, any remnants of mortar that are still there have to be got rid of. This is also a major job. It takes a relatively long time, several hours. We've now pulled the bearing onto the lifting frame and then the scaffolding was opened. And now we want to lower the bearing through the scaffolding so that we can put it on the trolley and then transport it away. And stop the rope. Wait for my command. And isn't that running along the guide rope? They go down each floor and lower it from floor to floor, and there are 2 of them. And stop. We've reached our destination. We've brought down the old bearing now. I'm very satisfied. The project's been going wonderfully so far. We haven't had any major problems yet. No one's injured. Everyone's in a good mood. It's working. It's 4:30 a.m. now. The new bearing is now on the transport frame. We'll push the new bearing across the bridge and turn the traverse around, and then we'll lift up the new bearing. Andreas, we're just hoisting the bearing. Thomas. Andreas called me. They're through up there, but we're coming up now anyway. The new bearing has just come through our scaffold opening. We have to be careful that it doesn't hit anything. And then this will be connected to our lifting frame later so that we can insert the new bearing. The night was very successful. First, because of the weather, secondly, in terms of the work. We're ahead of schedule. The blasting work is now complete, and the old bearing has been removed and reinforced. The concrete contact surfaces have to be cleaned again. We're now here preparing for insertion of the bearing. We've installed the chain hoist here. The protective gear for the auxiliary presses has just been removed, and the bearing can then be pushed in. The normal production time for a bearing like this is around 10 weeks. The bearing weighs approximately 2.5 tons and was manufactured individually for the bridge. And we also have different spacings between pillars of the bridge. Accordingly, the bearings also vary in size.
Dementsprechend sind die Lager auch unterschiedlich groß.
That's why this small hydraulic press is here, so that we get it completely accurate. So we're currently casting the lower bearing plate. To do this, we use potted concrete so that it runs down there nice and clean. By poking and moving with the bands, you try to get the air out of the bottom so that a form-fitting bond is created. We've installed the bearing now and it's being mortared in. So there's underground going in at the top now. The mortar requires a certain amount of time to develop its compressive strength. That usually takes at least 24 hours. Because the bridge is fully closed, we're also concentrating on getting other work done on the bridge, including cleaning and maintenance work. We have a bridge inspection device so that we can check the steel parts from the outside. The idea is to get everything done at once, so we have as few traffic restrictions as possible. Hi Frank. Hi Philip. Let's do the strength test. Here we have what you call a Schmidt hammer. They can be used to measure the compressive strength of relatively fresh mortar. As a result of the recoil, the app shows me how strong it is. So let's check the second side. Outstanding values. We can remove the superstructure. Very good, I'm happy about that. Very nice, great job. It all went very well. We attained the required strength values. Everything went as we thought and according to plan. Preparation work is already being done for next weekend, when we're going to change the second bridge bearing. It's now just before 5 p.m. We're done, and Frank, he'll check the bridge once tomorrow at 3 a.m. and will then release the bridge to traffic again at 5 a.m. The city of Hamburg and the HPA in particular can be happy that they have Frank Tetscher. If the Köhlbrandbrücke hadn't had Frank looking after it for the last 20 years, I'm firmly convinced that the bridge would be in a much worse condition.